Janine, you spoke about sending Ewen on the plane and really not knowing what was going to meet him on the other side. And Ewen, you said even when you were in the hotel room and he was cloaking himself, you were sort of iffy on his legitimacy. So at what point did you realize this was something we were going to be talking about for a long time and was a big deal?
Shall I do the setup and you can do the reveal? So we had planned a whole load of things that, in as much as you can, there's no guidebook on how to establish your NSA sort. And, we were sort of talking and going, how do you know if this is a genuine FISA court order? Because nobody's ever seen such a thing. You can't sort of Google it and go, what do they look like? So we thought, okay, well, he must be end career because he's leaving the NSA with an enormous amount of access, and to have this level of access, he must be at the end of his career, so he must be sort of disenchanted. We had a theory about how old he must be. We would honestly speculate about, is he sick? Is he feeling remorseful about what he's done? In none of our scenarios was he 29 and as Stuart says, quite hot. That wasn't a thing we figured. But we had a number. So we were saying, has he got a car park pass? Has he got a verification? Show us some. What were the other things we came up with? I can't remember. But essentially, it boiled down to was the Guinness good, Ewen. He had a code phrase. It was the Guinness good.
Janine used to go out on the road with me during the election, and she'd get fed up with me taking her to Irish bars. So before I left New York, she said, look, we'll need some sort of code. And if Snowden's real, say the Guinness is good. And if,
in memory of all those crappy Irish
I don't think you can 100% be sure that someone's real. A lot of it's just instinct. He did show us, I said, prove who you are. And he threw open his suitcase and produced his social security number, his driving license, his CIA, a CIA ID, and a whole sheaf of documents, because he knew when he came to Hong Kong, he was going to have to prove who he was. And the documents seemed real. But I don't think we were sure. I mean, Alan, Janine, and Stuart are going to be appalled by this, but I don't think we knew till we approached the White House and they said, yes.
No, we didn't trust you that much.
You don't stop at just asking the source, well, are you real, yes or no? And you look at the documents, and I remember you saying, nobody could produce that number and that variety of documents in a hoax. But the point where I think we sort of knew is when we went to, we put this first story to Verizon, and we knew that if it was real, then they wouldn't be allowed to say anything. And if they come back and said, no, that's not right, then we should take them at their word. And we put the call in, and they said, okay, we'll call you right back. And about 3 seconds later, the phone rang again, and we picked up the phone, and they said, can you just give us the date on that order? Which one is it? Is it yellow or is it blue? Okay, yeah, okay, we'll be back with you. And then they come back very quickly and said, we can't comment on that. And then there was the conversation with all the bobs where it was, it was very obviously real. And at that point, you just know that it's real.
Because your question, basically what you're thinking, obviously the first question when you're sending is the source real? Absolutely. But even then, that's not going to be enough. It's, the source could be a real person and still have some mad vengeance or something. But in the end, all you're really coming down to is it true and is it in the public interest? So sitting back in the office in New York, not in the hotel room with all the excitement of soy sauce, you are just basically really focusing with what is your public interest case, what is your justification, what do you publish and what do you redact? And we had amazing help on that from lawyers, but in the end, just, some of the finest editorial brains from here who came out and real experts in the subject. And then, is it true? As Stuart says, you just narrow it down, and there are always clues. And the moment when the guy was going, which agency is it? And what are the dates?
But the other thing is just back on the point about, the British pressure. No sooner had we put the phone down on the bobs than we had a phone call from Paul Johnson, who's a deputy editor here in London, saying the MI5 had already been on the phone to London, saying that the New York office were in danger of getting the Guardian into a bit of trouble, and could we have a sort of think about what we were doing? And when those wheels start to turn, you just know it's